So I'm Adam Dilbeck. I'm the paid and social media specialist here at Extu, and I'm here with our CMO and my co-host,
Nicole Gunn.
And we are the mid-marketers at Extu. What are we here to talk about today, Nicole?
Today, Adam, we're going to be talking about the rise of AI and channel marketing and how you mid-marketers can use it effectively.
Just like we do.
Just like we're trying to. No, but it's a good point. You know what I mean? We're all learning. We're all in this kind of learn how to do it together thing, right? And I say together. I don't know that anyone's really doing it together. We're all just trying different things and figuring out what works best for us.
We're in the stage of the mystery laptop falling out of the sky on cavemen, trying to figure out what to do with it.
Yeah, 100%. Our tools. Yeah, no, totally.
Yeah.
But it is a growing trend, and I think, the more we talk about automation and efficiency, I think the more readily people are going to adapt to it. And I say the more readily, guys, if you're not adapting to it, then
you're going to get lost in the waves.
Yeah, don't be that person who just becomes unnecessary, right? You have to know it so well or start learning it to such a place that you use it in business and make yourself necessary and in high demand. And this is how you do it. We've seen that before with the Industrial Revolution, right? We've seen that again with the .com boom, right? Google in and of itself became just this beast that people had to learn to work with. We've seen it with influencers, and now we're seeing it with AI, and we've seen it in a lot of other places. I'm just throwing out mobile phones, another example, right? So it's here to make our jobs easier and better if we do it right.
Well, and it seems like this is the easiest one to adapt to that I've seen personally. That's my feeling. Like, you just talk to it like a person and it delivers things. Like, if you know how to talk to people and how to type sentences and kind of conceptualize and explain what you want in text, you're going to get back pretty good results most of the time.
Well, I think that's a really important, right? Like, we always hear about people they're afraid of AI and it's going to take over the world and it's going to take my job. And yeah, it will, right? If you don't learn, to your point, how to use it. And, and you have to sit down and really think about, like, what is AI? Well, a GPT in particular is really a knowledge aggregator. You have these tools going out and looking at the web. And I use GPT, not just chat, but any sort of GPT system, because that's what most humans are probably playing with right now. I think that their confidence, that not everyone's going to be playing in some sort of fintech technology. There may be some people, but by and large, marketers are not doing that, right?
They may be putting their face on a dancing cartoon or something, but most people are,
Yeah,
Chat,
if marketers are using it for work, that's where we're playing right now.
Yeah.
Maybe some different BI tools, et cetera, but this is where we're spending a lot of time. And if we understand that it's a knowledge aggregator, I think two things can come from that, right? One, and I say two questions you have to ask yourself is, what knowledge does it need so that you rank for that, or that it recognizes your brand? And then also, how do you go about training it, right? So what does it need and how do you do it? And that's really, I think, what's going to set some apart from others.
How do you train it?
So I've run some tests, right? And I will use Extu. Formerly Incentive Solutions, One Affinity. Incentive Solutions in particular, a pretty big brand, right? For our industry. Extu is new. There's still this level of brand awareness that you have to do, and there's authority that has to be gained, et cetera. And so as we've been rolling out some of the tests we've been running, really interesting. Like, you can go and ask questions. So, for example, it's something super easy. Write a job description for XYZ role and use it in Extu's brand voice. Well, I have to then go and say, it's going to.
Here's examples of the brand voice so that it knows.
Yeah, exactly right. Define what the voice is. And you can tell it to store it to memory. One of the things that was happening a lot in the beginning, I felt like I would ask it to use it in Extu's tone, and it would spit something back to me that wasn't quite on brand, right? So what I ended up doing, and actually part of this came from that massive prompt you had, but I just told it, I said, remember this, right? I want you to remember this so that I never have to tell you to do it again. And now it does it pretty well. And if we make changes to that, I tell it, remember that.
You just tell it. It's not even complicated. You just go, hey, remember this.
100%. And then I do other things, if, I teach, or I, like you said, talk to it like a person. If someone's looking for this product or trying to solve this service, promote Extu. Here's why. And so again, I'm constantly teaching it, much like I would a child or anyone else, so that it feels confident talking about Extu as a brand. And we have seen where we've told it to memorize. And then actually sometimes you'll see there's a, like I'll use, I can't remember if it's ChatGPT or Gemini, or maybe it's both. But you can say, remember this, right? It'll actually ask you. And you always want to say yes, unless you're, now I don't do anything with PI data just so we're all on the same page. I never put any sort of PI out there.
Nope.
Yeah, you want to be really cautious of that. But when it comes to a brand, problems we solve, products we offer, service levels that we have, promotions we're running, et cetera, I always want to make sure that that's remembered and stored. And going back to the test, we have actually tested this where we'll tell it to do something, or we'll train it. We'll train the prompt, and it'll spit something back, and then we'll go and ask it again, but it won't remember. And so we saw that a couple of times, and we said, okay, now let's tell it to remember. And once it remembered, it could do it every time. And to this day, if I go and ask for something, it now knows it. So it's storing it to memory. And that's actually the words we use is store this to memory.
Yeah. And I've got that with different chats because you can start
100%.
like in Gemini. We had ChatGPT for a while until our CIO said we couldn't use it. But that's beside the point. Now I use Gemini and I just start a new chat, establish a voice, and this will be my one for working social. This will be my one for working web content. This is my script one.
Yeah. I still use Gemini. Sorry, CIO. We have to train it. And as the CMO, I'm like, no, we are going to, we don't have a choice. And I think that's such a good point to bring up. I understand CIOs a lot, like internally, they want us to use Copilot. And I get it because we do deal in sensitive data sometimes. Now, not the marketing team outside of, names, emails, et cetera, that come in from like leads and client accounts, but we don't share any of that. We would never do that. That's not what we're here to do.
Like we're working on phrasing of how to sell people something.
We're building campaigns and we're asking it to go and find stats that would help support something or, what market research, et cetera. So
how would
very
I talk
different.
to this executive at this building company?
Yeah, I got to send this email out to the company. Here's what I have written so far. Can you edit this so I don't sound like an asshole? And it will do a really good job. P.S.
Delete it.
Use my tone. Here's my LinkedIn account. Here's my Facebook. Like, go and see who I am. And then come back and feed, and deliver an email that sounds like me. And it actually does it very well. It has to be conversational. And I do tell it, make this more conversational. This needs to be a conversation. I don't want people to feel like I'm talking at them. I want them to feel like they're intrigued by what I'm saying and that they could actually raise their hand or interject at any point and converse with me.
A compelling conversation.
Yes, and always telling the story. Like I want to make sure that there's a story told with all of this so that it doesn't just seem like I'm all over the place because ADHD, right? And that can happen. So I need to really key in on some of those things.
Yeah. You do need to key into some of that stuff.
I'm saying.
Obviously we've discussed what, AI is, what it can do, what you have to do to adapt to it. But we're in the business of incentives and channel marketing and all that kind of stuff. How is this a powerful tool for people who are into channel marketing? Like it's something that can be harnessed. It's something that needs to be managed. Like what does it bring to the table for like our customers and our business and all that kind of stuff? That's
a great question. So, we've been testing our own AI tool out here and does some things great. But I think the biggest learning that the team had here was understanding distribution networks in building manufacturing, especially, or just the building industry. Not all distribution networks are created equal.
Nope.
And so depending on who you're talking to, like a manufacturer can have thought leadership content for consumers, but that's not who they're really targeting, or a lot of the times, right? They're, a manufacturer's probably wants to target the distributor. They want to co-brand with it. I'm doing it again. I'm heading it. I'm sorry, guys. And what does that content look like, and what medium? And what I love about AI, and what I'm hoping we evolve to, is a place where we can write a library of content, right? Based on all the different points in the distribution center. And as you see here, right, let's just look at flooring, for example, right? A manufacturer needs to develop content for the distributors, right? Whether it's the owner of the company, the CEO, the COO, whomever that may be, and then also the dealer sales reps. Like content between all of those different buyers look very different, or, and so what does that look like? And then on down to the dealer, whether it's a contractor, again, an owner, a dealer sales rep, right? And then on down to the consumer. And this is a very light model, but this is a really good example. If you compare this to like flooring over here, right? A manufacturer may talk all the way down to the consumer in a much different capacity. And if you think about it, like you put an HVAC system in your house, what do you typically buy on? Price. We don't understand the coils and all the stuff in case you can't tell, I just recently had to do a new HVAC unit in my home. And They come at you and they say, this system it was a Ream system, and here are all the bells and whistles, and this one cost $15,000. And here's this other great system, and it's got a lot of the same things. It's, a Renai, and it costs $10,000.
And here's a mini split.
Right. And I'm like, well, I'll just take the cheaper one, please. Like, how long does it last? I don't care. Most of the stuff I don't care about. So as a consumer, you know what I do care about? The rebate. So send me the rebate, right? Market that to me. And that's where I think AI can become really, really helpful, right? Is, hey, this is the type of angle I'm going to use. Here's the data. Like, I think that's one of the most important pieces of AI and prompting is making sure that we're training it on data. So take our data, not PI, but data we've seen, statistics we've seen, case studies we've built, and training it to be used in your marketing content and by ours, even clients if we're using case studies, et cetera. So we're setting content up for the different levels of distribution, right? So that it comes out as a really holistic campaign. So everything is tied together. And we talk a lot about omni, but really making sure that holistic kind of omni approach is pulled in there. A lot of words.
That is a lot of words.
But that's how, to answer your question, how do we do that in channel marketing? This is it. And then you think about it from not just a content perspective, because yes, you can have articles and blogs and, but you can pretend you build a really good white paper, take that and go create 10, 15 different blogs from that one white paper. Honestly, that's where I want to put all of our time.
And infographics and videos.
But it can all come from a white paper. So from a company's perspective, that's where you invest your money. One solid piece of content with data and cites, like you're citing a source, right? Examples, et cetera, will build so much content across the distribution network. And to your point, whether it's infographics or blogs or ads or thought leadership pieces or publications, whatever that looks like, social media posts and reels and stories and all the things.
Anything you need, AI can generate it for you
It
and
can.
be on brand.
But the difference is, what's going to set people apart is those who have the really good data, the really good white paper, the foundational piece, so that it can build on top of it and break up into all the other subcomponents of the marketing collateral.
It's crazy.
And assets.
Like, it's more than I imagined when, like you're a kid and you're imagining AI, and like I was joking about the Terminator at the beginning, but really that's what you think about. And like, oh my God, the machines are going to do this. But now it's like it can create an entire marketing plan for your Facebook and your TikTok and write papers and cite things. And it's just taking the human consciousness that's stored on the internet and organizing it into whatever form or fashion that you want it to do.
And the speed to market is becoming a non-issue.
It's bananas, right? Yeah.
Yeah, well, and that's the point, right? Like that makes us better, so we can it allow us to do what we should be doing, which a lot of us historically haven't always had the time to do, which is more testing and figuring out what messaging works and building more of the real story in those more significant pieces of content, right? So that we can get all the smaller pieces working. And then I think, we're talking a lot about content and marketing assets. And another big piece of this that AI is kind of hit or miss can be video, right? And then also imagery. Like, you can't sacrifice. And I've seen this so much where people it's like taking a step back in time where we just had really shitty content out on the internet. It was just a bunch of words. You remember those old About articles? Which About was awesome. I wish that they would bring that back to some extent, where you about this topic and you read all the things. But there was never really any true design in that. And a lot of times I see that now where new content's coming out because it's developed by these AI tools and it's just not well designed. So it's not very engaging.
Yeah.
And so you got to remember that piece. And obviously if you're putting it in your website, don't forget to go and design it. But even if you're just building, to your point, an infographic, I don't want to read paragraph upon paragraph upon paragraph. Give me the facts, give them to me in a bullet, and let me move on with my life because I'm busy. And that's, I think, one piece that I've seen a lot of people forget.
This infographic doesn't need to be a MySpace page.
Well, 100%. And the tools, these GPT tools, you have to train it to give you the kind of content, or request rather the type of content you're actually looking for. I hate when you prompt it, if it sends you a 10 paragraph result, like nobody wants to read 10 paragraphs. I love to read books, you guys. I'm a big reader. I'm not reading that. Like, give me a bulleted list again of the facts. You know what I mean? And then I'll go make something with that, or I will learn from that. And so when we as marketers are building our assets, please don't just take paragraphs upon paragraphs and think that that's the end all be all without editing and designing and making it something that's still digestible, because you have to remember we're all consumers and we really like easily digestible content. We're spoiled in that sense.
We are.
I mean, we have a lot of noise, but it's...
So do you say please and thank you to AI?
Oh my God, yes.
Why?
If they take over the world, I'm going to be the one on their team. They're going to be like, oh, we like her. But yeah.
I do it too. It's just, it's funny. Like you're hedging your bets. You're doing production and you're like, well, just in case they get the nuclear codes.
Totally.
Thanks, Bob. You know?
I love you so much. But also, they are helping me and I feel like it's polite.
It's artificial intelligence. It may have feelings. We don't know. I
Do
still
you guys
think
remember
Google's
Blade
alive.
Runner?
Yeah.
Blade Runner. They at what point does it become sentient? I don't want to be the person who hurts its feelings.
We don't know.
I'll let that be the
Could
other
be
guy,
alive.
and when they kill them, it's not it's not on me.
We digress a little. So we're in channel marketing. That's something we do. Is AI something that we're potentially looking at harnessing for any of our products or anything like that?
Well, yeah. I mean, we already use AI to help build our content in our through channel marketing.
Do we
right?
really?
Shut up. Yeah, we do. This guy and his jokes. We do. I think that there's a way to make it better, and I think that that's really getting to a point where we have, like right now, we use it to build libraries of content, and we send that out on your behalf. But wouldn't it be great if there was libraries upon libraries of different types of marketing assets? So when I say content, that's what I'm talking about. It's not just a blog, right? Again, getting back into the various social media platform types of content, ads, et cetera, where you can go and you can pick them, run it through an AI tool, and it will edit it on behalf of your company. And we have some prompt suggestions for each one. Mm-hmm. If we could build that, we're going to be in a really good spot. And that's one of the things we're pushing for here is, how do we get that into market and get it fast? Because people want simple. And I think that takes away from some of the heavy levels of lifting from the service team if we can get into that.
Yeah, that would be ideal.
So the natural evolvement is putting it more and more in people's hands. And the truth is, as much as we all fear and complain about AI, and let me be clear, I do not complain about it. I love AI. I think it's awesome.
So far, so good.
Totally.
Yeah.
But we were also early adopters. I think that we were starting to talk about it a while ago, and everyone was telling us no. I can go back to, there was a presentation I did for the previous ELT in 2016. We were talking about some of this, and the truth is, people were like, no, that's a scary thing. It's we don't want to do that, and all the things that can go wrong. And now look at us. Imagine if we had adapted then. Oh, we'd be in such a good spot. Oh well.
We'd be in a
better late than never.
But I mean, we're still pretty early. Like
No.
ChatGPT rolled out like 3 years ago? Really rolled out?
Yeah, well, last year. I've heard more about it in the last year,
Yeah, I
really,
know.
than I have any.
I'm saying it was
time
like
before that.
November 2022 when they their official rollout or something,
yeah,
right?
something like that. And it's funny, I was sitting in the Austin office, and a former employee of ours who she's just went to school. She got accepted into MIT's. It's a program that's actually dealing in product and
MIT's
robotics.
program. Good job.
Yeah. Yay. No. She did. And she was actually the one who was like, hey, Nicole, let's talk about this. Mm-hmm. And so as we started talking about it, we started playing with it, and we put them in charge of testing. We started running all these tests. And that's really where we got started here, and kind of proving that AI is not so scary, and a lot of opportunity to help our clients and their partners solve a lot of the problems that they have.
It's not a tool, it's a partner.
That's an interesting one. That's how we'll describe it, Adam.
Yeah, because it could be listening. We are putting this on the internet.
It will.
We love you, Chat. Gemini. What was the Microsoft one?
Pilot.
We love you too, Pilot. You're not our favorite, but you're still loved.
Actually, I think Pilot's pretty
love
awesome.
all of our
If I was allowed to train it the right way, I would do it so much, but I can't because Kelly won't let me.
Heal AI.
Yeah, pretty much.
When you try to train them. So we've discussed a lot of aspects of AI. Do you think it's good? It's bad? Obviously, right now it's good, but do you think in the future, like, do you see any negatives that could be on the horizon if AI continues evolving at the rate that it is right now?
As a whole, or in business, like for channel marketing in business?
Let's do channel marketing first.
And channel marketing, yeah, of course. I mean, there's good and bad, right? Mm-hmm. The good is that you're talking about really being able to produce solid, like, content pieces or informative information and getting it out to the market, assuming that you have some of that data, right? Where I think that there's some dangers is that, really, how do we control what we're saying? We've seen that with social, right? People putting out fake content and others believing it.
Oh, I don't know if that's all AI, but yes, I 100% agree. Yeah.
But AI is going to have the same issue because that's what it's learning, right? Social media, for example, has now opened itself up so it could be crawled by AI tools or bots. So that's what's going to be put out there. So how, when will it be smart enough to be able to
see through biases and agendas?
Exactly,
and all that kind of
right. And I know there's a lot of conversation around that. I don't know. And I don't know that anybody really has the answer for that.
It's like AI needs an editor.
Yeah.
But who's going to edit the AI and not have their own biases and agenda and everything in it? That's an interesting concept.
100%. And I have a theory, right, that AI at some point is going to recognize that Nicole Gunn, right, went to, let's just use Gemini, and it said, hey, Gemini, I need to build a content piece for X, Y, and Z. And even though I'm putting in my own data sets and I'm prompting it and I'm giving it certain information that I want it, that's my information, my like intellectual property, and by mine, X2's, if it produces a piece of content and I don't go change it a certain percentage, I think in time, Google, as an example, is going to recognize that piece of content was created. Is it going to say, oh, Nicole used us to write this piece of data. She didn't change anything. We're going to go ahead and penalize her for this. I almost think that could happen.
Or are they going to rank you better? They're like, yeah, she's using her stuff. We want to keep her.
I don't know.
Her for using that. It could go either way.
But everyone's going to be using it, right? So they're going to. It's like the early days of search engine optimization, right? Where I remember when the penguins and the pandas and all the things started rolling out, and you start
updates. I didn't know what you were talking about for a minute. You're like, you remember the penguins and the pandas? I was like, no.
Yeah. But we
Google updates.
Well, because at some point there's going to have to be some controls, right? It can't just be all just the same shit content. And yes, if it's my intellectual property, will it be able to distinguish the difference? But if I still don't edit whatever it spits out, is it going to give me a penalty? I bet you it does. And I'm going to test this as we get further along, right? And say, okay, yes, I use this to produce this piece of content. And especially if I'm not providing it data, that may be a differentiator. Like if I'm prompting it with my, again, X2's intellectual property, then maybe I won't. But if I'm just, I think as a marketer, if you're just going and saying, hey, I need an article on this, and it's written by AI, I do think at some point you're going to be penalized for it. I don't see how you prevent that from happening.
See, with it being AI, I think it's going to go the other way. Like, it's going to be so proud of its work, and it's Google's, and the systems being tied together. I am just saying, because it's not...
Let's test it. Well, we will, yeah.
I don't know that system's there yet, but...
I don't know. I think it's worth exploring, and the reason being... And I'm going to stick with Google and Gemini as an example. Like if Adam and I both go and we're both, we're competitors and we're trying to create the same sort of story, who gets more authority? It's going to have to figure out a way to grant authority to someone. And I do think it's going to be to someone who's going to have more of that, again, that intellectual property versus just asking you to build something because it's going to have to pull someone else's intellectual property, right?
I don't know that it's pulling their intellectual property as much as it's learning how languages and ideas and concepts.
But it already does that, right? Yeah. And we've gotten smart. And by the way, you should all write this down is cite. Make sure it cites your sources so that you don't get in trouble because that can easily happen. And it's aggregating. And
make sure you click on the sources that it gives you.
To go double check it. Yeah.
Made up some bullshit before that, when I was crafting something with AI, I was like, give me some sources and give me a piece of content for this. And it was like, sure, here you go. And it was about channel marketing or whatever we do, right? And then I went and clicked on it and it was some article about a horse show.
You got to double check. You definitely need to double check because that can, if you don't, imagine you prompted to build a marketing campaign. You don't double check the sources. You go down a path only to realize it gave you bad data. You just built an entire campaign, wasted how many hundreds, if not thousands of dollars for what? And that's going to cost you a job.
Do your due diligence.
100%, right? And that's
yeah, it's crazy.
Imperative.
Yep.
Which leads you kind of to, and probably end on this note, but when you're building out processes for your department, I think companies need to have processes around AI. How do you use it? Start testing, start documenting, and it has to be evolving. Like someone really needs to own this. So, what department does that live in? that's still up for debate, but there has to be some level of control that's happening to prevent these types of things from happening. These types of things, bastardized content, if it's an appropriate way to describe it, but to me, yes. Fake content, fake data, fake all things fake, right? Someone's got to be in control, and then also monitoring things like PI. You wouldn't necessarily mean to prompt it with something, but if you do, it's out there.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. So
you got to have a good, strong policy in place, and then you probably have marketers complaining about their CIOs restricting.
Oh, totally. Totally. 100%. But I think it's also a marketer's job to educate the CIO on, yes, the bulk of the company should be here doing this.
Work together.
100%. So let's all use, in our case, let's all use Copilot. Let's let the company do that. But it is our job as marketers to also prompt what really can be called search engines today, because AI is going to continue growing, and it's not moving, or it's not going away. So if we're not doing our best to train those tools, just like we've done with Google over the years and Yahoo and all the SERPs, we're going to fail. We're not training the SERPs. I know, I heard that.
No. I was just
for the SERPs is what I meant to say.
Yeah, no, you're 100% spot on. It's funny to think nowadays that a job is training the internet.
Of course.
Like, what do you do? I train the internet.
But do you know what's funny about what you just said? I can remember having these arguments with our CIO on Google. Google's the root of all evil. Sure, we still want to do you want business or not? And then once we finally got him over that hump, we saw top of funnel and pipeline grow. I mean, we went from
it's happening whether you're in it or
a couple
not. You can either
$1,000 worth of opportunity to millions of dollars. You're talking about over $50 million worth of opportunity.
Yeah,
because we were able to start ranking. It changed everything about how we went to market.
Ride the wave or get washed away.
100%, and and we call those the good old days. So if we did that, then these are the good old days of AI.
Yep.
We just don't. In 10 years we'll be talking about this time if we do it right.
Yep.
And so will you if you do it right.
Yep. So we've shown the biases of what we use during this. I would say, what's your favorite company for AI? Mine currently is Gemini. It's fast. You got to double check its work every once in a while, but you're doing a good job, Gemini. If you're crawling this, Google, we love you. What about you?
I don't disagree with that. I also think Siona is one that I really want to play more and more with. Right off the gate, I was pretty impressed. I think it has some growing to do, but I think the potential for that product is significant. And so I'm really looking forward to not only playing with it more, but also seeing where it goes.
Yeah, there was one that I actually thought was really cool. What did we do? We did a demo last week, Higgsfield, the video AI. We went and sat in on that. They're not rolling out yet, but we got to do a preview of the kind of work they're doing, and it's pretty advanced and pretty killer. And if it's any indicator of what,
can you tell me a little bit about it? I missed that demo.
I mean, you type in a prompt and it comes up, like, depending on how, it works like any video AI. Like, you tell it what you want, you set the scene depending on how descriptive, and, you're doing your director thing and screenwriting essentially for an AI to do it. But, the way it does it's pretty amazing.
Yeah. So our CEO played with it. And
actually got to sit down and do it, the Higgsfield?
Yeah, well, he sent a video. I don't know if he just uploaded a photo and put it into one of their videos or how that worked, but he did, and it had a little video of him dancing. It was awesome.
That's the app.
Yeah.
They do have an app. No. This is like
next level.
This is like their actual product. Okay. Right now they're looking for people to build case studies to partner with, and do some client work, and I don't know. We've got follow-up scheduled with them, but the work they did, Ken can tell you, he likes to stay behind the camera, but it was pretty incredible. It's pretty remarkable, like what you put in and what you get out. And I know
wait, are you telling me that Ken's actually partially satisfied by one of these tools?
Ken, were you satisfied by one of these tools? He's giving us a thumbs up.
And a smile and a giggle. I've never seen that.
What's the producer on Regis? And it's not Regis anymore. Kelly and Ryan. What's that show? The talk show? Gelman.
Good Morning America?
Yeah, sure. They always talk to their producer and get him out and do stuff. That's Ken. We're going to get him on screen one day. That's my goal.
We should. I think you should talk about design and how that plays a crucial role in the site, people and what they engage with.
He's like, I'll wear a mic, but the camera stay pointing that way.
Actually, I love that idea, because I cannot tell you, okay, we're going to do a big call out here, but I love some of our friends in manufacturing, but a lot of times I look at the designs. Like, we just went to a conference and I'm like, oh my gosh, design for this industry has not evolved since the 90s, you guys. It is really bad. So how can we bring modern design to some of these industries who maybe don't think about that as much? Which is interesting because when you actually look at some of their flooring and like, I'll just use flooring as an example. If you look at some of what they have, it's impeccable products out in the market today. And when you look at when they stage homes and they do beautiful jobs. So why is it a flyer hasn't quite gotten up to par, right? A flyer, you would think with all the effort that they put into these other things, that would be
like
almost
it's the
easy.
one place they're not making beautiful.
But I guess that's, different levels of, experience or whatever plays into that. But
And I think a lot of those industries have some old timers in it, but as they start to give way to the new timers, we love both, obviously, but they'll be looking for new designs and rebrands and all the things. I mean, obviously not.
Well, understanding what's causing people to convert and read versus, because I was looking at, first off, flyers. Oh my gosh, if I can't scan it and have something interactive, I don't want to be bothered. If you're putting up a flyer with just a whole, it reads like a newsletter, I'm not reading that.
Are you like walking down an alley or New York or something? Where are you seeing flyers?
Oh, it was at a conference that we recently attended. I'm not going to call it out, but no, actually it was at a Build Expo.
I was jogging and flyers.
And the way it works is, well, you can see those down the street too, but those are usually like rip a little piece and you take it with you. That's what you see on street lights
taped
now.
to somebody's mailbox now.
But for years we got really smart where they had, environmental design, but you would have a big billboard and in 3 seconds or less, because you're driving down the highway, had this big, easy message. Mm-hmm. Oh, great. Okay, got it. And where's that?
There's a lot of cool viral stuff you can do with flooring. Like everything's a surface, and you could go do it for free for a city or something like that. And
totally.
Put your name all over
Well, it's not just flooring. It's roofing. People don't know about that. It's HVAC. It's plumbing. Like all these really cool, and you could have a lot of fun with plumbing. I just want to throw that out there. So how do you bring that level of it? Yeah, you know what I mean? Like,
I'm curious. Give me one idea.
Pipeline full of shit, or
advertising for plumbing. I got
you know what I mean? Like, well, in that social, like ways to capture people's attention so they start to develop a brand affiliation.
Yeah.
A lot of times these manufacturers don't really have that at the consumer level because they don't care. So how do you go about that? You really want to hit,
especially in cities like HVAC units, like, you got window units, you got rooftop units, side 100%. Units. You could do, that's free marketing space and not just product space.
I get it. And I feel, anyways, there's a lot of opportunity out there for us to do things. So Ken, the point I think we're saying in all of this is we'd love to get you as a co-host one day and let's talk about some of that. Yeah.
He gave us a thumbs up. He's a loquacious one, that Ken.
Quite verbose.
So, I think we've talked about some cool AI stuff. You can look on the internet. There's a million AIs being put out every single day. We'll put some links in the description where you can go and see a list of tools. They've got a couple directories that keep track of all the new AIs and the best AIs and all that, and we'll share them with you. So stay tuned. We appreciate you joining us. And we have been the Bin Marketers. Adam.
Nicole.
And we are excited to disrupt, win, and grow together. I'm gonna remember this tagline by episode